As an advocate of transparency sa West Philippine Sea, napansin ko kapag DDS trolls, parang allergic sila sa topic na to. And they also counter our factual narrative.
Magtanong kayo ibang bansa, ang sasabihin nila, West Philippine Sea is the Philippines, 9-dash line is wrong, merong sovereignty or sovereign rights ang Philippines on some of these islands. Militarizing and creating artificial islands, that's violation of the UNCLOS, etc. To characterize it as a dispute is already wrong. Sinasabi nila, hindi naman yan gut issue, hindi naman yan inflation, hindi naman yan pera, hindi naman yan langis, wala yan sa priority, huwag yan pag-usapan dahil hindi importante sa tao. Wrong!
No spin, no lies, just the truth. Magandang araw Pilipinas at sa ating mga kababayan sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo. Hatid namin ang isang maalab na pagbati sa inyong lahat na nakatutok sa Just the Truth Podcast. Walang patid ang kwentuhan at masinsinang usapan dito sa ating podcast. At syempre, kasama nyo pa rin ang inyong lingkod, J. Tristan Tariela. Sa bawat episode ng ating podcast, layunin naming maghatid ng tama, malinaw at makabuluhang impormasyon hinggil sa mahalagang usapin sa West Philippine Sea. Kasabay nito, binibigyang buhay din natin ang mga kwento ng ating mga panauhin. Mula sa kanilang personal na karanasan, mahalagang aral at paglalakbay na humubog sa kanilang galing at paninindigan sa napili nilang larangan. Dito sa ating podcast, sama-sama nating hinuhubog ang bawat mamamayang Pilipino para mas matibay na kamalayan, kritikal na pag-iisip at paninindigan sa usapin ng West Philippine Sea. Hindi lamang ito simpleng talakayan. Dito, mas naipapaliwanag ang konteksto ng ating mga karapatan at ang tunay na kahalagahan ng soberanya. Dahil ang katotohanan ay hindi lamang dapat marinig. Dapat itong inuunawa, sinusuri at pinaninindigan. Sa pamamagitan ng tamang impormasyon at bukas na talakayan, mas napapalalim natin ang ating kolektibong kamalayan bilang isang bansang may pananindigan na atin ang West Philippine Sea. At sa ating panibagong episode, makakasama natin ang isang Filipino lawyer by profession, co-host ng programang Political Talk sa Bilyonaryo News Channel, political commentator at vlogger, nakilala sa kanyang aktibong pagbibigay ng opinyon at komento tungkol sa mga isyong pampolitika sa bansa. Sa ating talakayan ngayon, mas makikilala pa natin siya ng lubusan, kasabay ng kanyang mga adhikain at pananaw sa buhay. Kaya naman, makakasama natin ngayon si Attorney Jess Falsis. Welcome po sa ating podcast, Attorney Jess, at kamusta po kayo? Attorney Jess, maraming salamat.
Rear Admiral J. Tariela.
Sa pagpapaunlak mo na maging guest ng podcast ko.
Wow, thank you for inviting me. Nagselos nga ako nung nakita ko yung first few episodes.
Actually, kasama ka talaga dun sa priority list eh. Kaya lang, na-realize ko ang dami mong shows, ang dami mong commitment.
Imagine, nung nagselos ako sa utak ko, biglang may nag-text, ano daw, Sir J. Tariela is inviting you. Sabi ko, ay wow, nabasa kagad yung utak ko.
Kasi, alam ko na dapat ang booking sa'yo weeks before.
Booking? Grabe!
Hindi pwedeng on the dot na kapag, pwede ka ba bukas? Hindi pwedeng ganun.
Pwede naman. Basta ikaw. Oo.
Pero itong podcast na to, attorney, no? Hindi to purely about West Philippine Sea. Hindi to purely about the South China Sea issues. About sa'yo to.
Naku!
Okay lang ba?
Okay lang.
So,
pero akala ko kasi, dito ko lang nalaman pagdating ko, na ako pala.
Na it's all about you.
Ang topic. Bahala ka na, sir, sa mga tanong mo.
Well, una si lahat, no? Attorney Jess, you are one of the most recognized, no, na political commentator pagdating sa what is happening now dito sa gobyerno natin, the flood control issues, sa impeachment, the Duterte concerns and everything, no? But prior to that, you were actually a lawyer. You graduated from the University of the Philippines. Can you share with us, sir, where did you grow up? Tagasan ka? Bakit ka nag-aral ng law school? Who influenced you? Those kind of things.
Grabe. Napaka-personal pala nito. Born and raised ako, sir, Quezon City. But my mom is from Cebu City. Taga Lahug, yung lolo ko, tsaka si mama. Si dad is from Mindoro. But I've never been
Mindoro?
to
Saan Mindoro?
Nauan.
Occidental, Oriental?
Yan ang hindi ako sure. Kasi nga hindi pa ako, I've never visited Mindoro. But yung mga garong, yung side namin ng dad ko, garongs are from Mindoro. I know my relatives, I've met them, but yun nga, hindi pa ako nakapunta ng Mindoro. Mas close ako sa Cebu side of my
Mother side.
connections, yeah, my roots. Kasi every Christmas noon, when my lolo was alive, he would require my mom and all of her siblings, lahat ng mga anak na mag-reunion sa Cebu City sa bahay ni lolo. My lolo was former COMELEC commissioner under FM senior. COMELEC commissioner si Casimiro Madarang. And lahat ng mga kids niya mag-reunion. So until he died, lagi kami sa Cebu every Christmas. Mga 2000, 2001, mga ganong period. So lechon, puso, lahat ng mga Cebuano food, talagang alam ko yan. Tapos, kibaw ako, kasabot ako gamay. Like, onting-onte na Bisaya. But if I hear people speak Bisaya, I can generally understand it. Unless sobrang bilis magsalita.
Dahil
And-
your mother can speak the dialect?
Yes. My mother's fluent. She was born and raised in Cebu City. Lang siya. Nag-Quezon City lang kami kasi nga nag-aral siya ng medicine sa UST. And then she worked here.
So your mother is a doctor? Medical doctor?
Yes. Oncologist.
Oncologist.
Ayaw mong maging doktor yon. Cancer doctor. Oo. Pero
And your father, sir, is a
pag
lawyer?
naging doktor mo si mama, okay naman kasi talagang malambing siya. Si dad is an engineer. Civil engineer. When my dad was my breadwinner. Dad was the breadwinner in the family. Pero he suffered some psychological or mental health issues kasi na-lay off siya. Panahon ni FM senior. Mga martial law years. He couldn't handle being fired kasi okay na yung trabaho, etc.
What was his company then?
He was working dun sa, I forget the exact company, hindi niya company. He was, it was a high-level management position or sales position sa, yung mga nagbebenta ng big trucks or Caterpillar machines. Yung mga pang-construction, I think that's the brand C80, yung mga ganun. Yun po, so may mga commission siya for every sales, mga ganun. He suffered depression when he was fired. So my mom was forced to be the breadwinner. Kasi nung na-lay off si dad, hindi pa siya tapos sa residency. Tsaka hindi pa siya tapos sa kanyang studies. Kasi ang haba ng pagiging doktor
And being an oncologist?
Naging consultant lang si mom, mga 1990s. No? I'm forgetting some specifics here. Basta ang point, nung mga 1980s to 1990s, yan na yung downfall ni dad. Tapos yan na yung pataas na si mom. So, si dad noon, he was still with us. But my mom had to give him medicine every month to treat his depression or psychological issues. Ayaw nga ng nanay ko yun pag kinikwento ko Pag pinopost ko, ayaw niya na kinikwento ko kasi maselang issue.
Ilan kayo magkakapatid, attorney?
But ako, kinikwento ko yun, sir, kasi mental health should be discussed di ba? Dati hindi siya masyado dinidiscuss. Ngayon, we should discuss it. Talagang people can go through mental health issues. 3 po kami. Ako yung bunso. Spoiled ako.
Yung naunang 2 kapatid mo, attorney, did they become doctors or nag-law school din sila?
Entrepreneur sila pareho, mga business people. My sister, my eldest is engineer pero nasa business. My kuya, yung middle child, is accountant pero businessman na din. So ako lang yung hindi businessman. At kahit tingnan nyo ang salin ko, kasi barangay kagawad ako ngayon kahit tingnan nyo yung mga records ko sa gobyerno, wala akong shareholding.
Bago tayo pumunta dyan sa much more juicier discussion,
Basta ang point,
attorney.
hindi ako businessman.
Okay.
And intentionally, I will never go into business. Kasi nga, nasa politika tayo even as a barangay kagawad, kailangan walang conflict of interest. Iba ang goal or motibo ng isang businessman. It will always be profit
For
motive.
profit.
Yes. Ang profit motive, it is not inherently good or inherently bad. But generally, realistically, it goes bad Usually. Why? Kasi nga, pera talaga eh. Minsan nakakalimutan mo yung tao, minsan nakakalimutan mo yung lipunan, minsan nakakalimutan mo yung prinsipyo.
So pag politiko ka, ang interest mo is pera, that's for definitely a wrong reason.
Wrong. Hindi ka dapat maging politiko. Kasi pag politiko ka, public interest. And ang profit is usually private interest. But I do know and I do acknowledge na sa politika natin, sir, madaming pumapasok sa politika.
For wrong reason.
Because gusto nilang gawing negosyo. Mali yun. Hindi mo, kung gusto mo maging negosyante, mag-business ka na lang. Doon ka na lang sa private sector.
Pero bago tayo pumunta dyan, attorney, who inspired you na mag-aral ng law school? Bakit hindi ka na nag-doktor? Bakit pinili mo mag-abogado?
People might say it was because of my lolo na COMELEC commissioner.
Former commissioner, yes.
Pero hindi ko din siya masyado kasi nakasalamuha eh. I really didn't grow up.
Family reunion lang talaga yung engagement niyo.
Oo, tsaka na siya nun eh. Siya na yung patriarch nun na yung hindi mo naman makakausap. Yung malayo siya sa akin eh. Lolo ko siya, yes. Mamano ko, ganun, magbe-bless. Pero hindi ko naman talaga siya na kakabanding. But I do know that he was a lawyer. For the question na ba't ako nag-law, ano mo tayo? Funny kwento. Kasi nag-polsci ako 4 years.
Okay.
Wala namang trabaho after. Pag polsci grad ka
Bakit
lang.
ka nag-polsci?
Doon muna tayo sa Kasi generally pag polsci, ka lang eh. Ang pwede mong maging trabaho, political analyst, or yung mga political scientist, professor, medyo academic. Parang hindi ko naman nakikita yung sarili ko noon na gano'n.
Academic, oo.
Oo. Siyempre, sa Pilipinas, pag nag-polsci ka daw, mag-law ka na din. Hindi nag-law na din ako. But not because I had in mind talaga to be a lawyer, na to make my living, to make a bread and butter out of my lawyer profession. Hindi eh. Nag-lawyer talaga ako the time when I took up law exams to enter law. Ang reason ko talaga noon, and kung merong halungkay or mabulatlat tong sinulat ko, kasi may essay noon eh, sa UP Law, LAE, na why do you want to be a lawyer? Why did you study law? And why UP Law? May tanong yun eh, sa LAE, why UP Law? Ganon. Ang sagot ko, I wanted to study the law to know how to change it. So, kasi bading ako, part of my advocacy then was to know ano yung mga laws and how to change laws in relation with the discrimination that I felt and was seeing happening with my people, 'di ba? With people like me na gay. Aside from that, of course, syempre yung mga ibang minorities, yung mga mahihirap, bakit ganun yung sitwasyon? So, that's my reason. Makikita yan, sinulat ko yan noon. I wanted to study the law to know how to change it. So, hindi ako nag-aral ng law really to practice it. Kasi madami nagtatanong, attorney, no case, diba?
Pero,
meron ka na bang hinandle na kaso? Meron na tayong hinandle na kaso, madami na.
Pero again, going
Tanong
back...
mo na lang ako later, sir.
Going back, attorney.
But ang point ko,
sa reason mo muna, no?
I didn't become a lawyer to become rich, to be a lawyer.
But for social equality.
For social justice.
Social
yes.
justice.
Yes.
Okay.
Precisely. Kasi, talaga yun eh. Growing up, yun yung kinamulatan ko. Being gay, na I was being discriminated explicitly and implicitly. Kasi hindi naman lahat ng discrimination kailangan verbal abuse talaga, sasapakin ka. But, I went through those kind of things. Discrimination can also be soft discrimination. Yung hindi ka lang sasamahan, mag-isa ka sa lunch table, ganun.
Pero attorney, ang tanong ko, attorney, after passing the bar exam, pinili mo ring mag-practice na lang or immediately you opted to run for barangay election?
Right after I passed the bar, ang una kong final talaga was a petition sa Supreme Court. And this is yung kinasikatan ko, both famously and infamously. Infamous ako dito sa kaso na to eh. To question the legality of the prohibition on same-sex marriage sa family code. Yun yung first case ko. We lost there, but we expected to lose because the Philippines is still conservative. Even the justices back then were conservative, and they couldn't see the logic and the legal theory behind why the case should have succeeded. Pero okay lang yun. Hindi ko yun minamasama sa mga justices, sir. Kasi, just to tell you, sa ibang bansa po where they were able to achieve same-sex marriage, 30 to 40 years na laban yan. And sa Pilipinas, siguro mga 20 years lang ago nagsimula yan. And then, pinalaki ko yung momentum with the case. So, ang point ng case is to start the momentum na 20 years, 30 years down the line in Philippine history, eventually, malilegalize yung same-sex marriage. Kasi, if we didn't start it, kung walang consciousness about why it's wrong, why it's unequal, why it's discriminatory, eventually, yung mga policymakers natin, hindi yan lalaki eh. Kung hindi sila aware why it's wrong, why it's discriminatory to us, not to have the option. It's an option, it's not a force, di ba? Churches are not forced to marry gay couples if may same-sex marriage. Straight people are not forced to enter into a gay marriage. But people who want to enter into a gay marriage, right now, they're not allowed. So yun yung wala sa kanila, yung right to marry. Ang point ko dyan, the reason why I filed that case in 2015 is so that eventually, down the line in Philippine history, magkaroon ng ganong mga policymakers who are more aware and who are more conscious na equal rights, LGBT rights. And ngayon medyo mas may ganong consciousness, sir. Ipasok ko na kaagad. Hindi mo pa natatanong, sir. Pagdating ni President Duterte, pagkapanalo niya, 2016, inoperate niya or in-execute niya yung Oplan Rodi. Ginagawa to ngayon ni DILG Secretary John Vic Remulla, pero mas maayos yung sa kanya. Yung kay Sec John Vic is Safer Cities. Grounded, isa sa mga legal basis is or are the curfew ordinances of local governments. Ano yung panahon ni Duterte? Oplan Rodi was intensified campaign against minors or against youth on the streets by strictly enforcing curfew ordinances. Sounds good, di ba? Ang ganda pakinggan nung panahon ni Duterte. Pero,
What's really happening?
but yun nga, he paired yung Oplan Rodi with Oplan Tokhang. Meaning, yung mga naaaresto nila or na i-intervention nila ng mga minors after 10 p.m. by enforcing the curfew ordinances, usually, and i-deny ito ng mga DDS, but this is factual, usually, natotokhang. Either natatanom man ng droga or sinasabi, pusher, runner, seller, nanlaban, imagine, minors, manlalaban. Kaya daw namatay or kaya daw pinatay, self-defense, etc. etc. Ano example natin dito? Si Kian De Los Santos. That's the same reason, di ba? Na runner siya, pusher, or nagbebenta, kaya siya namatay, di ba? Ano yung connection nun sa akin? So may mga lumapit sa atin na militant leftists or groups and student rights groups who wanted to question the Oplan Rodi. Kasi nga nakita nila, mali eh. Very fascist. Unlike ngayon although of course, I'm not saying perfect yung ginagawa ni Sec John Vic. But compared noon, talagang pasista, talagang may namamatay.
And violation of human rights.
Violation of human rights. It wasn't to protect children. It wasn't to protect minors. It wasn't to make streets safer. It was just a populist policy paired with Oplan Tokhang, which we know right now is a crime against humanity based on the ICC cases happening. So, yung isang grupo, Samahan ng mga Progresibong Kabataan, SPARC, asked me, came to me, kasi may mga posts ako noon eh. May mga online articles ako. Anti-Duterte na ako since 2016. Hindi ako anti-Duterte ngayon dahil uso na. Hindi din ako anti-Duterte dahil BBM vlogger ako. No. Noon pa po ako anti-Duterte, 2016. Anyway, tanungin mo na lang ako later dyan, sir. Pero, so they came to me kasi may mga sinulot ako noon na articles saying illegal yung pag-implement ng mga curfew ordinances. Some of the ordinances were unconstitutional or illegal. So, nung nakita nila yung sinulat ko, why don't you help us question it before the Supreme Court or question it before the court? Sabi ko, okay, game. Pro bono yun. Walang bayad. And at the age of 31, bubuhat lang ako ng bangko, Rear Admiral, kasi syempre madami tayong haters na DDS. At the age of 31 years old, August 2017, SPARC versus Quezon City. Nasa Supreme Court jurisprudence. Unconstitutional at illegal yung curfew ordinances ng Manila at Navotas. Yung sa Quezon City, pasado. Kasi maganda yung pagkakagawa, maganda yung pagkaka-implement. So sabi ng Supreme Court, walang problema dyan. But ang point, nung panahon ni Duterte, we were able to stop, nagka-TRO for mga 1.5 years, 1 year and a half, of Oplan Rodi being shut down.
I-clarify ko lang, attorney. You took the bar exam 2014
Yes, October.
and you passed 2015.
Announce yung results.
Oo.
Peralta Bar. Kasi kami mga lawyers,
2014.
2014.
2014.
We remember our bar exams by the chairperson. So,
Okay.
Justice Peralta 2014 bar exams. Ano lang yon? 17% passing rate.
So,
But it's not hard. It's not hard. Kasi 2005,
and,
ano daw
and
yung...
your rating is above 80.
Yes, kasi imposible yung 80.0. Grabe. Ang hirap makakuha ng saktong plakado 0, 80.0. Kasi nung lumabas yun sa balita, yung 80, sabi ko, ay, parang mas mataas ako dyan kasi I recall, uungkatin ko ulit yung mga records ko. Basta alam ko for sure.
Pero
More
ang,
than 80.
ang true to your word, no, dun sa essay na sinulat mo nung nag-apply ka ng law school is for social justice.
Yes.
So yan ang naginawa mo
Hindi
the
ako,
entire time.
yung yung mga bread and butter ko kasi, unfortunately, okay naman kami. Okay si mama, okay si kuya, okay si ate. So ako, I didn't feel the need to really like earn for the family, ganun. Wala akong masyado kailangan buhayin.
And
Bading
then-
ako, sir. So, hindi ako kailangan kumita ng sobra.
Naging kagawad ka,
Onting
kailan
kita
sir?
lang.
2015,
Ano na, sir? Ngayon lang, 2023.
2023.
First time tumakbo, luckily, thanks to the residents of my barangay.
Is it really your plan to run for public office or to be engaged in legal profession?
Hopefully, sir, 'di ba? Pero meron bang naging baklang congressman na open except si Kong Percy? But Kong Percy is party list. Meron ba naging baklang senador na open? Pero hindi sila out. No, and that's both funny and tragic. That's
Tragic,
both funny
why?
and
How can you
tragic.
say it's tragic?
Because they're not out. Or even as a bisexual, hindi sila maka-out. Ano po
Can we say na the reason why they're not out is because the Filipino people as a country is still not prepared for the LGBTQ?
well, yung panahon nila. Hopefully, pag dumating na yung mga generation ko and yung younger generation, mas ready yung generation ngayon. Pero definitely, sa generation nila, they would be discriminated.
So-
and sa circle nila, sir, sa sarili nilang circle, the reason why a person would not want to out themselves is generally because either sa family nila, sa religious circle nila, sa friends nila, sa network nila.
This is also related with what you said.
They would feel stigmatized.
Kanina kasi sabi mo, there are no congressmen, there are no senators na openly gay.
Yes.
And then,
Except ngayon, Kong Percy.
Right now, you're saying na in your generation, in the next coming years or decades,
Sana.
people will appreciate the LGBTQ. So,
Well, right now-
meron pang possibility na by 2034, there will be Senator Palsis?
Destiny yan, sir. Destiny yan, sir.
But you're open to that idea.
Hindi din. Kasi pag ginawa nyo akong senador, basag lahat eh. Babasagin ko lahat eh. Sinasabi ko sa, wag nyo akong gawing senador. At saka ayoko din po. Gusto ko muna, may belief din po kasi ako of climbing up the political ladder.
So,
But if
congressman muna.
No, but if there's an opportunity to become a senator, why not? My God, sino ba naman ako para tumanggi? Imagine, wow, may baklang senador, 'di ba? Pero yung sa sinasabi ko na philosophy, sir, actually ang constitution natin, yung mga batas natin, I think there should be laddering. Sa inyo, sir, may laddering, yung promotion nyo. So bakit pwedeng tumalon kagad na presidente o senador ang ibang tao? And I'm not talking about college degree, This is not saying na kailangan may college degree. Bakit hindi kailangan mag-ano ka muna, either kagawad or kapitan, bago ka maging mayor? Bakit yung Nipo baby na anak, pwede maging mayor agad?
Congressman.
Ano bang experience? Doon muna tayo sa local government mismo. Kasi national government ang congressman in a sense, Congress. Doon muna tayo sa local. Hindi ka naman pwede magpatakbo kagad ng isang syudad. Hindi mo naman alam how barangays operate. Paano mo, pagsasabihan yung barangay captain, mas may alam pa yung barangay captain sa'yo. Kung paano gagawin yung trabaho niya.
Kung paano tumatakbo isang pinakamaliit na unit ng lipunan ng Pilipinas.
Ang daming trabaho ng barangay captain, hindi lang yan alam ng karamihan. Meron tayong gender, may anti-drugs, may environment, may traffic, may infrastructure. Ang daming committee ng barangay. So, masaya nga ako na tumakbo ko as barangay kagawad. the lowest elective position. Kasi ang dami kong nalaman. Even as a lawyer, sir, may mga bagay na kahit lawyer ka, hindi naman yan tinuturo sa law school. Ang barangay, papasadahan lang yan sa law school. Kasi mas importanteng ituro yung provisions ng local government code on Congress, on mayor. Ang barangay, hindi na yan masyado natuturo sa law school. And the practice and application of the law is far, far different. So ngayong nasa barangay ako, alam ko na. Alam ko na paano nagkaka-SOP yung iba. And ako, wala akong SOP. Punta kayo sa barangay ko, magtanong-tanong kayo sa mga constituents ko.
Attorney,
Pasensya
saan ang
na lang
barangay
kayo,
mo
mga
daw?
haters
Baka may
ko.
magtanong kung...
Sa may Timog, Tomas Morato, barangay, laging handa kung nasaan ang famous Nomu Basho Bar. Kain tayo. Kain tayo doon. Masaya doon! Bakit ko ba na-mention yun? Baka magalit na naman sa akin, Attorney Ed Chico ha. Na-mention ko lang yun kasi nasa affidavit ni Madriaga. Nasa balita na yun. Hindi ko kasalanan, okay?
Attorney, bago ko malimot to,
Oh.
meron kang isang statement na sinabi a few years back yata na ang UP College of Law has this motto, honor, excellence, and service. And you were saying na, unfortunately, some of the politicians that you know ay nag-graduate din sa UP College of Law are not good, are not embodying etong mga words na to.
Values. No, ano yun university motto yun, sir. Dagdagan ko muna, before the university values, may college values ang College of Law. At naka-plaster yan, may malaking saying or motto si George Malcolm, Justice Malcolm sa College of Law. And yung building namin, Malcolm Law yun Malcolm Hall. Ang sabi ni Justice Malcolm, the purpose of a law school is not to make lawyers. It is to make great lawyers. And greatness doesn't come from just doing your job naturally. It comes from critical thinking. It comes from questioning institutions. It comes from questioning power. To do great things. Hindi pwede yung SOP, routine, business as usual. Hindi pwede. So that's why I always try to scrutinize. If you notice, medyo skeptical ako lagi sa blog ko or sa mga views and opinions ko. I don't buy everything hook, line, and sinker. I try to say, totoo ba yan? Baka naman because of this. And then, kunwari, yung mga DDS nga, merong propaganda or message, I try to look at the motive. I try to look at the purpose why they say such things na wala namang basis sa batas or walang basis sa facts. That's the College of Law. Sa university, sir, honor, excellence, sinabi nga yan ni Professor Winnie Monsod, honor comes before excellence and service. Before everything else, you must have integrity. You must have honor. So, kailangan malinis ka. Kailangan hindi ka corrupt. Kailangan sinasabi mo yung tama, walang fake news, walang false. Diba? So, yung pagbawi or pagbali ng forthwith sa impeachment ng isang graduate ng UP, that's not honor. That's not excellence. Diba? Kasi forthwith is just a simple term. Agad-agad. Hindi naman niya agad-agad ginawa yung trial against the Constitution. Madami dyan, they will say, walang mali doon, ganyan-ganyan. Uso na kasi yan, sir, ngayon yung madaming interpretation. Since Duterte time, may Department of Interpretation Oo, yung totoo, yung simple na word, sasabihin nila madaming palusot. Joke lang yan, hyperbole. Hindi yan ang ibig niya sabihin, ito yung ibig niya sabihin. Ipasok ko lang, sir, hindi mo pa tinatanong. Favorite books ko kasi, 1984, George Orwell, tsaka Animal Farm, George Orwell. I'm sure you've heard Orwellian. Orwellian kasi is yung parang dystopia, yung future natin na mukhang maganda yung future, mataas yung buildings, prosperous, pero hawak pala ng diktador, ng pasista. Merong panopticon, merong all-controlling, all-powerful, controlling our lives. And how do they do that? They do that through propaganda, through messaging. Sa Animal Farm, sir, kwento ko lang yung libro ng mabilis. It's a farm na may mga pigs, cats, dogs, lahat ng animals sa isang animal farm. Meron silang constitution. I kid you not, ito yung libro na to May constitution sila, all animals are created equal. Tapos, later on, dahil merong magaling na leader doon or na animal, na bago, biglang all animals are created equal except some are more equal than others. Yan ang ginagawa ng Duterte time. And I have to say this, kasi nung panahon ni Duterte, sinasabi, oh, itong constitution, yan. Pero actually ito, meron niyang exception or may interpretation. Ipipilit nila yung mali through a creative way of interpreting na mukhang lusot. So if you're not critical, going back to the greatness of a lawyer, according to Justice Malcolm, if you don't apply critical thinking, if you don't apply skepticism, hindi mo mapipierce eh. Kasi actually, oo nga no, una mapapaniwala ka eh. Kaya ang daming napaniwala ni Duterte.
Would you believe that the sense of decency, public interest, statesmanship ng ating mga politiko deteriorated from 2016 to 2022?
Oh, definitely. Ano yan? Lagapak ang ating moralidad at ang ating perception kung ano ba dapat ang tama o mali. Kahit ako, I'm not immune to being affected by what Duterte did. For example, yung mga pagmumura niya, and I'm not saying ako, mas naging palamura because of him. But society as a whole, mas naging verbally abusive, mas naging rude, mas naging insulting. So, yung mga tao actually nagsasabi, and in fairness, mga pinklawans to yung ibang nagsasabi, si Falsis medyo nagbago na yan kasi parang yung vlog niya dati ganito, mas matalino, mas sophisticated, etc. Ngayon, mas bardagulan. Ako kasi, nakikibagay ako sa panahon eh. Yun talaga ang kailangan ngayon eh.
Attorney, kung nagkaroon tayo ng changes of perception and
Culture.
Oo. Why did the Filipino people allow such change? Maaalala natin, Noynoy Aquino, yung sense of statesmanship niya, projection of power, talagang maayos. And then Duterte came. Ano ang dahilan? What forced and compelled the Filipino people to have this kind of brand of government?
That's a good question. That's a great question. And there is no perfect answer, and the answer will always have to be found. Kailangan sagutin natin yan lagi, no? So yung sasabihin ko ngayon, hindi lang ito yung tama. I might even be wrong sa sasabihin ko. Ang sagot ko dyan, una, I want to make a disclaimer, 20 to 30% lang naman ng Pilipino yung talagang nagre-reflect sa ugali at attitude ni President Duterte. Hindi ganon ang Pilipino in general. No? Meron siguro mga 20% talaga na leaning towards violent language, leaning towards rude, cursing, bastos na lengguwahe. Mga bagay na tinatago natin sa public, pero kapag nagiinuman with their friends in the locker room, macho talk, sexist talk, misogynist talk, ganun talaga sila. Hindi lang nila pinapakita sa labas. Karamihan ng Pilipino pa din are God-fearing, love their neighbors, respect their neighbors, you can talk to them easily. Kahit ako, kapag may DDS po kong kasama, kahit talagang diehard Duterte yan, hindi ako bastos. Diba? Unless makarinig din ako ng kabastusan, diba? Tatablahin kita. I will match your energy kasi hindi mo ako pwedeng bastusin, diba? But if a DDS talks to me in a civil way, okay yun. Yun yung una ko munang sagot. Hindi ko pa nasasagot actually yung tanong mo, sir. Ang hula ko dyan, this is just an educated guess why we became that way because of Duterte or after Duterte. Duterte actually only exemplifies some of the Filipinos' values in relation with yung Old Testament na Christian Bible attitude. Actually, the Bible sa Old Testament, and with all due respect to Christians or to Catholics, may pagka-bloodthirsty and vindictive.
What's your religion, attorney?
I'm Christian. I'm Catholic. I was born and raised Catholic, but I'm not fanatic. Yung ano lang ako.
Believer lang.
I believe, I pray from time to time, but I don't want to push my religion kasi to others eh. And I don't want others pushing their religion to others. May kasabayan nga, baka matawa ka sir, di ba? A religion is like the thing down in your pants. You keep it to yourself, you don't show it. Di ba? You don't flail it around to other people. And you, especially...
Kapag ikaw naging very out ka na sa pagiging religious mo, parang may iba na din eh.
At saka it will violate other people's rights eh. Kasi 'di ba, your religion should be personal eh. Of course, sinasabi you should preach the word of God, but not in a way that you shove it down the throat of other people's mouths. Like the thing under your pants. Kaya yun yung analogy eh. Mas maganda tong analogy ko kaysa kay Bong Suntay. You know, and this analogy, sir, Before me. Yun na yung analogy.
Yes.
Religion is like the thing under your pants, you don't shove it down under the throat of other people. Keep it to yourself.
Pero, do you think, attorney, etong naging...
Or to your loved one.
Yes, and ito naging transition natin from...
Hindi, balik tayo, sir. Ang tanong mo pa din is, bakit ba naging ganun?
Why did we
Yun
become
nga,
the society?
Si Duterte na verdugo, vindictive, vengeance, revenge, etc., etc. Medyo Old Testament yan eh. Yung, hindi to biblical, no? Pero yung Hammurabi, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. So, since ang Pilipinas, majority of us are Catholics, and Catholicism is a type of Christianity. Kasi may Protestants din, di ba? May unorthodox. So, kung talagang Christian tayo, madamit sa Pilipinas na imbibe yung ganon. Baka mali din yung reading nila ha. Hindi ko sinasabing mali yung Christianity. Ang kulang siguro sa kanila, hindi nila masyado inimbibe naman yung New Testament. Baka kulang sila ng Bible reading, sir. But this is just a guess of mine. Because you asked a great question, bakit tayo naging ganon ng panahon ni Duterte? I think he only exemplified some of our worst values. And any value like Christianity, if you radicalize it and push it to the extreme, kasi may radical Christians din, sir, ha?
Yeah.
Like Muslims. If you push it to the extreme, masama na yan eh. Yung talagang bloodthirsty, vengeance, punishment, tokhang.
Pero do you think, attorney, with what is happening right now, mas free na tayong mag-express ng ating sentiment against the government, mas marami ng podcaster, bloggers, saying different, spectrums of opinion against the government. Do you think at some point, there's a clear indication na bumabalik na ulit tayo sa dating panahon wherein we are no longer recognizing those kind of bad behavior ng nakaraang administrasyon?
Well, twofold yung tanong mo, sir. One is yung sa bad behavior, the other is yung talagang crackdown on dissent.
Mm-hmm.
Diba? Definitely, ang layo ng panahon ngayon. And even ako, I'm not a Marcos supporter. I didn't vote for PBBM. But I was happily surprised na mas open at mas accepting of criticism. Actually, the president is too nice. He's too nice kasi grabe na yung sinasabi ng iba. Hindi ako yung mga ibang blogger, yung free speech nila, the exercise of free speech, I think it crosses the line. And buti ngayon may onting pushback. Yung anti-fake news na drive or yung mga kakasuhan, if nagkakalat ng fake news about this and that, talagang ang lala nung iba. But for us who were on the side of the fence na talagang kina-crackdown ni Duterte, Maria Ressa, Rappler shutdown, ABS-CBN shutdown, De Lima pinakulong, sina-silence, yung mga pulis noon, of course, trabaho lang nila, but they were blockading. Si Laila De Lima, hindi siya makasalita sa press kapag pupunta sa courtroom or sa trial. Ngayon, pag si Bong Revilla, pwede mo naman siyang abutan ng mic eh. Pwede mo marinig kung may gusto siyang sabihin eh. Noon si De Lima, hindi pwede yon. Talagang iko-cordon siya, matatakpan mo si De Lima, hindi mo makikita si De Lima. Ang galing nga ng mga pulis eh, pasensya ka na, Sir Jay pero ang galing ng mga pulis tsaka military noon, talagang hindi ko alam paano nila sinishelter si De Lima noon. Wala kang makikitang balahibo, buhok ni Senator De Lima, hindi mo siya marinig na except yung isang time yata na napasigaw si De Lima para lang marinig siya.
Last na tanong na to tungkol sa sa LGBTQ at pagiging
Kahit
bakla.
ilan pa yan, sir.
Minsan kasi kapag nagbabasa ako ng mga comments sa'yo sa social media, dahil naka-follow din ako sa Twitter.
Anong comment? Bakla.
Bakla. And for me, kahit magkalayo tayo ng generation, no, parang inappropriate na yung gamitin na bakla. Di ba? Meron
Definitely.
na tayong term na ginagamit. Does it offend you na tinatawag kang bakla? I mean...
Hindi. Ang bakla naman kasi, sir, ngayon, it depends sinong gumagamit. Para siya yung N-word for African Americans. If they use it, walang problema. But don't think you can use it or anyone can use it if they use it. Pag narinig mo sila, gagamitin mo din yung word, hindi. Magkakaroon ng ibang meaning.
Pag straight people na, sabihan ka ng that word,
bawal. Pero
bawal
yung sa bakla, ano pa naman yan? Okay pa naman yan, sir. Bakla, bading, that's just a descriptor. And the gay community, the LGBT community, we have reclaimed that. May concept kasi, sorry mga DDS, baka hindi kayo nag-aaral May concept ng reclamation. You can reclaim certain pejorative words like N-word or the F-word for gays, fagot. You can reclaim that and give it a different meaning. Ako kasi, bakla, if you call me bakla, so what? Yung kamay na bakal na hinahanap nila kay Sarah, ito ang kamay ng bakla. Oh, hindi nyo kaya yan. Mas matapang pa ang bakla kaysa sa tibo. Kasi yung tibo, ayaw makipag-debate sa akin. Mag-host ka kaya, sir, ng debate? Ako versus tibo. Oh. Sino mas magaling? Yung bakla o yung tibo? Kasi yung dragon, duwag. Dragon daw, pero duwag naman. Ako, Year of the Tiger ako. Pero hindi ako Tigre ng Norte, ha? Hindi ako si PBBM.
Attorney, dyan na tayo pupunta sa part ng mga tanong ko, no?
Ay, hindi pa pala seryoso, no? Papunta na tayo sa seryoso.
Papunta na tayo. Kasi personal question mo pa lang
Basta,
yan, eh.
basta bago natin iwanan yung light, tandaan mo, sir, kamay ng bakla. Mas matigas sa kamay na bakal.
Kamay ng bakla, mas matigas
Yes!
sa kamay ng
Of
bakla.
course! Wag niyong kakalabanin ng mga bakla. Nako, sinasabi ko sa inyo.
Ang isang ibinabato sa'yo, attorney, ng mga DDS trolls ay talagang outright pinklawan ka daw. And sometimes,
Okay pa nga yun eh.
nawawalan ka na raw ng objectivity sa lahat ng bagay. And meron pang pinakahuli, you are bayaran daw, no? Na naging, I don't know whether it's a joke.
I told you, sir, kanina pa lang, I didn't want to be a businessman. And I will never become a businessman. Itaga nila sa bato. Never ako magiging contractor. Never ako magkakaroon ng mga ganyang businesses. Disgusting! Diba magpa-public service ka pero may private interest ka? Ang gusto mo mag-serve ng public pero you want to serve your private interest. And yung mga oligarchs, never.
So, ikaw, sir, you don't deny na you
Pinklawan
support the
ako.
pinklawan.
Pinklawan ako, sir. Ganito yan eh. Let me correct them. Let me educate you. Pero mali yan, ha? Propaganda lang yan ng mga DDS noon. Hindi naman ganyan ng mga pinks na let me educate you noon. Na-hurt lang sila dahil, sir, sinasabi namin yung tama. Kami talaga yung objective. Sabi ng mga DDS, hindi daw objective pag aminado kang pinklawan. Sino bang legal luminary na nagre-reinforce ng mga DDS narratives? Wala. Wala. Itong mga legal luminaries, hindi naman sila pinklawan o DDS, they don't say that, di ba? And you can just read them from their decisions. Kahit sa law school, yung mga academics, mga professors, sino nagva-validate sa mga opinion ng mga DDS na narratives? Wala. Ang usual na nava-validate, pinklawan na opinion or narrative. Constitutionalism, legal theory, bank secrecy, lahat. West Philippine Sea. Sinong pahiyang-pahiya sa West Philippine Sea ngayon? The DDS narrative, di ba? Sabihin nila, walang jurisdiction ng ICC, mali ang UN arbitral ruling. My God! My God, if they were truly objective, they would know and see na mali ang DDS narrative. So, bakit ako, sir, aminadong pinklawan? It's not because diehard Lenny ako. I've said this many times, hindi ako insider sa Lenny Circle. Hindi din ako insider sa BAM. Actually, there are certain BAM employees or insiders who hate me.
Because?
Kasi manghang niya nga yung opinion ko kahit sa kakampi. Ako, I consider Lenny, BAM, Visa, kakampi only because the principles and advocacies they forward are, I think, the right ones. And I believe and subscribe in them. Pero pag magkamali sila, pag may proof na corrupt si Lenny, ako una magiging critic ni Mayor Lenny. And na-criticize ko na yan si Mayor Lenny nung Vice President pa lang siya. Alam yan ng mga pinklawans. Yung mga DDS lang magsasabi na bias, walang objectivity. Of course not. Si Bam Aquino pa lang na naglalaro sa INC noon, criticize ng mga pinklawan. This year, nung
Meron
medyo
ka bang yung
tahimik on
post
some
yung
issues.
equally?
Yung alin?
Ay yung term mo na, yung tungkol sa trial ni PRRD. Ideally,
Yun nga,
yeah.
weeks ago or months ago, na-criticize si Senbam. Of course, na-clarify na niya yan. But we don't live in an ideal world. He doesn't have to say that. Especially in the context of the ICC happening. Why did he have to say that? And with all due respect, Senbam, baka lang hindi ako nagmamaganda. Baka lang naman. Wala ka pang nakakausap na talaga, lawyers on the ICC. And wag po ako, hindi ko pinipresenta ang sarili ko. Siguro magpa-courtesy call ka at Senbam with Attorney Cristina Conti or si Attorney Ross Tugade, si Attorney Hill, si Attorney Joel Butuyan. Yan. Kausapin mo, sir, about the principle of complementarity, jurisdiction, confirmation of charges, lahat po. So, ang point dyan, sir, going back to your point,
Objective ka.
Pinklawan, I can drop that with a heartbeat. Hindi ko hawak
For
ang
the
beat.
sake of objectivity.
Yes! tama lang sila ngayon. So far, tama pa din ang mga Pinklawan. Lahat ng mga pinagsasabi ng Pinklawan, proven correct eventually.
Related to that when it comes to misinformation, Attorney Jess. Para sa akin, ang mga kababayan natin ngayon, mas discerning na. It's very difficult now na makapambudol pagdating sa misinformation.
Luckily.
Do you believe with such observation? Ang social media ngayon, parang hindi mo na maa-accept as it is right now compared nung nakarang administrasyon. Maalala ko noon, nung mga ng 2016 to 2022.
Kawawang-kawawa kami.
Hindi, meron pang may mga Netflix characters na pinupuri si PRRD, tapos ang daming Pilipinong nagki-click.
Pope,
diba?
the Pope, the president of other countries, wala pang AI nun ha. Photoshop lang
Meron
yun.
pa si Annalise Keating ng How to Get Away with Murder. Diba?
Oo. Hindi, ngayon, mas less talaga yung nabubudol. Susundot lang ako, sir, ha? Kukurot lang ako ng onte with your indulgence. Dati kasi, syempre, uniteam. Talagang talong-talo kami noon, tambak na tambak. Pero ngayon, sa social media sentiment monitoring ko, talagang mas nag-converge yung algorithms tsaka yung perspectives ng Marcos loyalists, Pinklawan, at ng mga undecided. Yung DDS may sarili silang echo chamber. So lumiit sila kasi naghiwalay ang unit team. Thank you Lord, grabe hirap na hirap ako noon. Imagine, sama-sama Marcos loyalists at DDS. Ang Pinklawan, kawawang-kawawa kami.
Balikan ko lang uli yung sinabi mo kanina, Attorney. Ang sabi mo, so much resources ang ginamit ng gobyerno ng nakarang administrasyon para magpakalat ng fake news, no? So, ang tanong ko ngayon, ngayong administrasyon na to, of course, we have different president, mas marami nang nagsasalita. Do you think the reason why Filipino people are quite, very difficult na masway na sa social media is because mas apprehensive na, mas discerning na ang ating mga kababayang Pilipino, or bumaba na ang machinery ng mga taong nagpapakalat ng misinformation?
No, luckily, the same resources that were used before to spread disinformation is the same resources now to fight disinformation. And I'm not saying this administration is perfect. Pero sa akin nakikita, sir, for example, yung West Philippine Sea Transparency Initiative nyo or yung combating fake news na advocacy ni Yusek Claire Castro, kung paano niya binabasag yung mga fake news, mas institutionalized ngayon to fight disinformation rather than spreading it na ikaw mismo gobyerno, ikaw nagsispread ng disinformation. And again, I'm not saying perfect ang gobyerno na to. There may be sometimes, because of politics, na merong misleading. Kasi ang ano naman, sir, ang narrative, depende naman yan how you frame it. Diba? Pwede kang misleading, pwede kang intentional, pwedeng unintentional. So, hindi ko yun inaalis. So, hindi perfect ang gobyerno na to. But, in terms of yung mga talagang core narratives na kailangan maniwala ang mga Pilipino, na ang West Philippine Sea sa atin, both UNCLOS in terms of maritime rights and in terms of sovereignty. Kasi yung territoriality, yung territorial rights natin, kinokontest yan ni SASOT at ng mga ibang DDS bloggers. Although wala pang court decision yon, international court decision. But of course, why would you believe them na hindi daw na-discover ni Thomas Cloma ang Spratlys or yung Kalayaan Island Group? Why would you say that? You should side with us or that narrative kasi that strengthens our claim for a senator or a senator to be countering that. He is reinforcing the narrative of the Republic of China, People's Republic of China, PROC.
Since nabanggit mo na ang West Philippine Sea, Attorney Jess, may tanong ako. Kasi napapansin ko lang, no, as an advocate of transparency sa West Philippine Sea, napansin ko kapag DDS trolls at West Philippine Sea, parang allergic sila sa topic na to. And they also counter our factual narrative. Does it follow na kapag DDS ka, hardcore, you're also against the position of the government with regard to the West Philippine Sea? Or the reason why you're doing that is because you're just a fanatic dragged on by this narrative of the former president? Or
It could be both.
You are basically earning money from the People's Republic of China as a paid troll.
Of course, there's nothing wrong with international conferences, etc. But it's quite suspicious. By the way, yung pro-Philippines narrative, that's just the objective. Sasabihin na naman, bias. No, yung pro-Philippine narrative, yun yung tama sa international law. Kahit sino pang tanungin yung international law expert, huwag kayong magtanong ng Pilipino. Huwag tayo magtanong ng Chinese or taga-China, di ba? Magtanong kayo, ibang bansa. Ang sasabihin nila, West Philippine Sea is the Philippines, 9-dash line is wrong, merong sovereignty or sovereign rights ang Philippines on some of these islands. Militarizing and creating artificial islands, that's violation of the UNCLOS, etc.
Ang tanong ko, Attorney,
All of the above ang sagot ko dun, sir.
pero meron ka bang nakilalang DDS na sumusuporta ng West Philippine Sea?
Pahirap yung mga tanong nyo, tsaka ang gaganda ng mga tanong. Parang, so far, meron na, finally.
Meron na.
Sa tingin ko si Attorney Jimmy Bondoc. Correct me if I'm wrong, Attorney Jimmy. Alam ko you support the West Philippine Sea.
Nagpunta kasi kami ng Cebu, no? It was arranged by Philippine Information Agency. Tapos merong mga phone-in questions,
Oh.
no? Nagsalita ako tungkol sa West Philippine Sea. And Cebu, paniniwala nga ng lahat ng tao, baluarte to ng mga Duterte. No? So, surprisingly, 3 radio stations ang pinuntahan ko doon. May mga tumawag na nag-express ng kanilang support sa West Philippine Sea.
That's great.
But, after saying that, they would also say na if a Duterte will be running for president in 2028, iyon ang iboboto nila. So, ako para sa akin, it is very surprising na ganun yung narrative sa Cebu. No? May mga sumusuporta at paninindigan sa West Philippine Sea. But on the one hand, sinasabi nilang they will still be supporting a Duterte candidate. Can you say na meron din tayong ganyang mga tao na makikita sa NCR or the Greater Luzon area?
I think so. That could be because they don't see VP Sara as anti-West Philippine Sea. But ako, with all due respect, I think she is. But she is just great in hiding it or not really making it apparent. Kasi nga, ganito yan, sir, di ba? Ang China, they always couch their language in the language of international law as well to try to combat our own claims. Ganon yan eh. Kapag mayroong propagandist, sinungaling, they will still try to use the language of the rules that they want to say na sila yung tama. So si VP Sara, when she talks about the West Philippine Sea or the issue or dispute with China, she will always vaguely or in general say that there's a dispute, that we follow the rules, ganon. So,
May sinabi na ba siya?
I mean, very, very onte. But yun yung nakuha ko. In fairness, sir, meron naman. Pero yun nga eh, ito sir ang problema. To characterize it as a dispute is already wrong.
Yes.
To characterize it as na mayroong legitimate claim ang China is already wrong. Kasi if you say there's a dispute, there is a possibly legitimate claim. Invalidated na yung 9-dash line. It's sad na mataas talaga ang West Philippine Sea sa priority ng mga Pilipino. Sinasabi nila hindi naman yan gut issue, hindi naman yan inflation, hindi naman yan pera, hindi naman yan langis, wala yan sa priority. Wag yan pag-usapan, hindi yan importante sa mga politiko, ganyan-ganyan. Dahil hindi importante sa tao. Wrong!
Yes.
Wrong.
Very wrong.
Wrong.
Pagdating sa food security, of course, the fisheries, no?
Food security.
Nakaka-apekto yan.
Energy security.
Energy security
Pag-usapan
sa
natin
Recto
yung
Bank.
energy security, sir, no? Kasi baka hindi nila na realize. Ako kasi, if wala talagang dispute at tayo ay peacefully and we can already exploit the resources there, all the oil, all the natural gas, hindi yun billion eh. Trillion
Yes.
ang papasok. And, pero I have to say it now, Sir Jay, baka lang may nabibigay kasing policy makers, syempre, show mo to eh. Kung naririnig nyo po ito and sakali lang na mag-succeed tayo in exploiting more and finding more oil there, more natural gas,
Attorney, naniniwala ka ba na ang Chinese government will also be willing to invest, spend money sa magiging mga candidates natin by 2028?
they already did that. With all due respect. Kasuhan nyo na lang ako kung mali pa, hindi nyo naman makakasuhan. So it's not impossible for China to be reaching out to our politicians to try to intercept and plant certain agents. By the way, hindi lang yan sa Pilipinas, sir, nangyayari, ha? Russia has tried to do that with yung mga gusto niyang gawing proxy or gawin niyang gustong allies sa, saan ba to? Eastern Europe, yung mas malapit sa Russia. That happens with all great powers. And even the United States, baka sabihin nyo, makakanu ako, ha? Madami din
Makakano daw naman ako eh. Ano daw ako, pro-US.
But history lesson, di ba, sir? The USA and the CIA have a history of also supporting candidates who are favorable to them. And they also supported mga parang banana republics or what. Depende sa interest nila. So I'm not saying China lang. But with your question, I am saying, yes, China has and China will. But tayo, Pilipino talaga tayo. Pag ako nagsabi, totoo. Kasi yan, sinasabi ko sa inyo, parehong USA at China namumulitika. Ako, Pilipinas lang. Norway, Sovereign Wealth Fund, sarili nating oil, sarili nating natural gas, gawin nating sariling pera natin.
Attorney, napakadami na nating napag-usapan tungkol sa buhay mo and lahat
Tapos
ng
na?
Hindi, meron pa. Ito na yung magbabasa na tayo ng mga social media post about you. Game ka ba dito, attorney? Ito yung part na tinatawag naming real talk.
Show mo to. I-real talk ko yan.
Okay. Attorney, according sa isang comment sa Instagram, tungkol to dun sa pahayag mo sa One News interview, sinabi mo na kahit hindi tumakbo bilang Pangulo sa 2028 si Naga City Mayor Leni Robredo, BP Sara Duterte is still beatable dahil sa lumalaking anybody but the Duterte's movement. Ang sabi ng isang nag-comment sa'yo, Attorney Falsis, kain suka. Anong comment mo dito, attorney?
Ano naman kain suka doon? Anybody but Duterte, consistent ako. Anti-Duterte noon, anti-Duterte ngayon. Saan ang kain suka doon? Unlike si Guanzon, Shiminette, Fiona, Confidential Pants, siya ang kain suka kasi lumuluhod kay Sara ngayon. Sara Duterte, gawin mo akong senador. My God!
sa pang comment mula naman sa ex-attorney Jess, yung Jesus Palsis na abogado, legit na Twitterist lang. Hindi naman abogado sa totoong buhay kasi walang law firm. Ha ha ha.
Roll of Attorneys, 64793. IBP, lifetime member. Pasensya na lang kayo. Iyak kayo kasi kahit walang kaso, lawyer pa din. Pero may kaso ko. Ako nga nagpawalang bisa ng Oplan Rodi ng tatay digong nyo eh. Oh, iyak kayo at the age. Buhat bang kulang, sir? Kasi ganun talaga. Madami tayong haters. At the age of 31 years old, I won a case at the Supreme Court. Ano pang kailangan kong gawin? Wala na, tapos na. Except basagin ang mga DDS narratives. Basag.
Mula naman sa threads, ito yung comment, attorney. Magtataka ka na lang talaga kung bakit sa tuwing may batikos kay Martin Romualdez, nakadepensa agad si Jesus Palsis. Kung bayaran talaga ni Martin, bagay sila. Parehong-pareho ang galawan, parehong-pareho ang reputasyon.
Nagbabasa ka ba ng Facebook post ko? Ako nga ang unang nag-post na may kaso na sa Sandigan Bayan, si Martin Romualdez. Dahil sa Tweety Bird ko, nalaman ko kagad, pinost ko kagad. So paano ko magiging bayaran? Iyak na lang, iyak DDS.
Mula naman to sa Reddit, Jesus Palsis is not the intellectual you think he is. In my opinion, he's just like the rest of us. But instead of posting his opinions anonymously here on Reddit, he's posting them on Facebook using his real name. Mas madami pang mas intellectually sound here in Reddit than Jesus Palsis. He's not special. He's just moderately knowledgeable about local politics. Ask him about US politics and geopolitics. He's clueless. What's your take, attorney?
Baba natin ng yung para lang mabasa ko yung mahaba yan, isang paragraph eh. 3 sagot ko dyan eh. Una, hindi daw ako intellectual. Thank you. I don't wanna be an intellectual. Kailangan masa tayo ngayon. Dahil si Tatay Digong, masa, makikisabay tayo sa masa. Yung DDS narrative, niloloko ang masa, kailangan basagin yung peking narrative para sa masa. So, thank you for saying I'm not an intellectual because I don't aspire to be. Tagabasag lang ako ng mga peking narratives. And then sinabi, using my real name. Yan ang kaibahan ko sa inyo. I use my real name. Nakataya ang pangalan ko. Kaya mas matapang ang bakla kaysa sa tibo. Kamay ng bakla kaysa sa kamay na bakal ni Sarah. Oh, pangatlo, isa pa. Is not knowledgeable about US politics and geopolitics. Moderately knowledgeable lang daw about local politics. Una, ano ba ako? Pilipino ko. Ang gusto kong baguhin, ang gusto kong pagandahin, Pilipinas, sir. So, kahit wala akong alam sa US politics, but I do know a lot, hindi lang ako nai-interview, ano ngayon? So what? Gusto ko nga i-improve the Philippines eh. So dito ako nakikialam. Ba't naman ako makikialam sa US politics? Gusto mo mag-US politics? We can go there.
Ito naman, attorney, itong, sa TikTok, ang opinion mo daw about President Duterte's lawyer Kaufman in employing delaying tactics and ongoing proceedings. Ang sabi mo, ang sabi ng comment, si Palsis yung kaklase or ka-office mate mong galing na galing sa sarili, pero siya mismo sa sarili niya sablay naman. Ang dami kong mga ka-office mate na ganito. Naging senior lang dahil sa tenure, pero di dahil sa galing. Naunahan pa sa promotion, mga junior pa sa kanya. Ganyan na ganyan si Palsis. Isang unsuccessful na abogado, bumabawi na lang sa pagiging propagandista at balimbing sa LP.
Okay, ano ulit? Down. Kasi mahaba yung sinasabi niya eh. Doon tayo sa umpisa. Yung kaklase mong office mate na galing sa sarili. Actually, hindi ako galing na galing sa sarili ko. If you look at my interviews, I always cite other experts. Justice Carpio, Shelo Magno, Professor Dangat. So, yung mga opinions ko, usually nagtatanong ako or nagbabasa ako sa opinion ng iba. Kung galit na galit ka sa akin, kaya ka galing na galing sa akin. Kasi naiinis ka sa mga sinasabi ko eh. Isa pa, wait, ano yan? Mga naging senior lang dahil sa tenure, di dahil sa galing. Hindi pa nga ako senior eh. Bata lang ako. O naunahan pa sa promotion, mga junior pa sa kanya. So na-promote ako. Barangay kagawad nga ako eh. I ran for the lowliest, smallest position. Kaya nyo ba yon to serve your barangay? Kasi sa tingin nyo, di ba magagaling kayo? Ako hindi. Barangay kagawad lang ako, minamalit nyo barangay, di ba? May napanalo na kayong eleksyon? Wala. Ako, meron na. Hindi ako iboboto ng tao, binoto na ako ng tao. At iboboto nila ulit ako kasi yung aking barangay ay halos mga pink lawans. Ano lang, may isa pa. Pagiging propagandista at balimbing. Unsuccessful na abogado. Kayo lang nagsasabi niyan eh. Nanalo na nga ako, Spark versus Quezon City. Hindi ko naman sinasabi na successful na ako dahil lang doon. But I already won a case. Hindi niyo naman alam yung mga iba kong tinulungan na pro bono, mga rape victims, mga kinasuhan ng syndicated estafa. Dismissed, fiscal pa lang. Kaya nyo yon? Hindi na umabot ng korte. Syempre, hindi nyo yun malalaman kasi hindi naman ako malaking tao. Maliit lang tayo. And pro bono yun. And hindi ko na kailangan ipangalandakan at ipagyabang yun sa inyo kasi magagalit ka na naman. Galing na naman ako sa sarili ko eh. Sorry. Ganun talaga.
Ito naman, Attorney Jess, sa YouTube. Saan ba to nakapag-aral? Ang galing niya mag-analyze. Dapat siguro ipasara ang school nito kasi madaming napuproduce ng genius. Baka dumami pang kagaya nito, mahihirapan ng Pilipinas.
Sarcastic. But I actually agree. Ipasara na ang UP College of Law. Sa totoo lang. Kasi ang dami namin ginawa, produce na masasamang tao. Sa totoo lang. Lahat halos ng mga leaders ng bansa galing sa University of the Philippines. And yung iba doon, University of the Philippines College of Law. Nakakaawa, nakakalungkot talaga. Sinabi niya ni Winnie Monsod nun, most of our leaders come from this prestigious university. And yet, where is the country going? Where is the Philippines? Mag-elect naman tayo ng Ateneo. Mag-elect naman tayo ng FEU. Mag-elect naman tayo ng San Beda. UST. Kahit saan. Ateneo de Davao. Pakitaan nyo kami ng galing nyo. Wag lang sa San Sebastian College of Law. Kung nagigets nyo, gets nyo. IYKYK.
Attorney, for my last question muna. Para sa akin,
Akala ko tapos na eh.
personal question ko sa iyo to. Ang style of responding mo sa mga fake news, sa mga trolls, is the same level of bardagulan na ibinabato nila sa iyo.
Of course.
Do you believe that this kind of discourse of bardagulan is the only way that we can correct our narrative?
Well, of course not, no? We can do many things. Like ako, I can be multidimensional. Gusto mo mag-pure English tayo, Sir Jay? Diba? I can speak in straight English without talking in Tagalog. But I do speak Tagalog just so that most of our kababayans get to understand directly. Like ako, pag may nagsalita ng Bisaya, hindi ko kagad maintindihan. Kailangan ko ng Google Translate. Ita-translate ko yan. So, yung bardagulan ko, that is just one form of language. People and human beings are multilingual. So kapag diplomacy, foreign ambassadors, abroad, we can have a different language. Pag local, hindi naman kailangan bardagulan lahat. Kunwari, nasa City Hall ka, City Council, nasa barangay ako. This is not how I speak there because that is not also how they will treat me and speak with me. 'Di ba? Pero kung ganyan yung mga pinagsasabi, like si Guanzon, 'di ba? Sasabayan natin yan. Like si Sara Duterte, akala mo bait-baitan lang yan. PR image lang yan. Sinabihan lang siya, magbait-baitan ka, punta ka sa grade school, sa high school, a plan A, a plan B. Pero bardagulan din yan, si VP Sara. Nanuntok nga ng sheriff yan eh. Oh, ganun ang tao, sir. Ang tao, unique. Ang daming kulay. We are a mosaic or kaleidoscope of colors. Kaya, kung ganyan kayo, DDS, ganito din ako.
Alam mo ako, Attorney Jess, kaya ako tinanong, kasi sa totoo lang, naiinggit ako sa'yo. Kasi sa posisyon ko ngayon, hindi rin talaga ako pwede makipagbardagulan.
Iba naman talaga trabaho mo, sir.
I admire the way you respond sa mga trolls, sa fake news. Para sa akin, kailangan talaga nating i-address to.
Swerte lang talaga, sir, kasi intentionally, I ran for Barangay Kagawad under local jurisprudence. Kasi hindi kayo nagbabasa ng Supreme Court decisions, mga DDS. Ang elective position like Kagawad is inherently political. Kaya pwede akong mamulitika, sorry na lang kayo, iyak. But tulad ni Sir Jay, tulad ng iba, appointive po yan. So they have to be more civil servant-like. Pero mga politiko, kaya namin maging political.
Maraming salamat, Attorney Jess. I learned so many things from you. At higit sa lahat, idol kita sa bardagulan.
Ay, nako.
Maraming salamat.
Thank you for inviting me and idol ko po kayo sa Transparency Initiative. Good luck. Ang dami nyo din kaaway.
And that wraps up our conversation, Attorney Jess Palsis. Maraming salamat sa pagiging straightforward sa pagbabahagi at pagsagot sa lahat ng aming tanong. Hindi lamang namin nakilala ang trabaho mo bilang abogado, nasilayan din namin ang iyong personal na panig. Isang karangalan at pribilehyo na makasama ka namin sa episode na ito ng aming podcast. At dito po, nagtatapos ang ating podcast para sa araw na ito. Maraming salamat sa inyong pakikinig at pagsama sa amin sa makabuluhang usapan. Stay tuned sa susunod na episode dahil panibagong kwento na naman ang ating tatalakayin, mga kwentong may aral, inspirasyon at higit sa lahat ay totoo. Muli, ako po si J. Tristan Tariela, naghahatid ng totoong usapan mula sa mga tunay na karanasan. No spin, no lies, just the truth.